Welcome back to the best Dominion cards list. This time part 8, the middle ranked cards costing 3. Starting from rank 30, Chariot Race. We're starting part 3 off with another new card. So Chariot Race is a cantrip that sometimes is a peddler and a monument, so this seems really strong. The problem is though that's unreliable and you can't really control it. Of course, there are some interactions, like if you play C-Hack first, then it's really good, of course. But for example, if you play Ghost Ship first, and your opponent is smart, Chariot Race probably is not really good. So there are some interactions you have to be careful. But in the most cases, Chariot Race, of course, is good in engines where you can trash, and when your opponent plays big money, he has really a hard time catching up because all your Chariot Races gives you probably money and points. So when Chariot Race and trashing is on the board, you pretty much have to go for the engine, which makes it quite strong. But in big money and slogs and so, this is just unreliable, and you might get lucky or you might get unlucky. So it's quite decent and quite strong in a lot of engines. It's hard to tell yet how strong it is. We'll see. Rank 29, Gladiator. Gladiator is the second new Empires card in a row. It has a really high deviation. At least I had trouble ranking Gladiator because Gladiator is just so good because of fortune. You have to go for Gladiator because of fortune. So if you ignore fortune, it's quite hard to rank. I mean, if you have uniques like travelers or ruins or something, then Gladiator is a terminal money for 3 coins. That's quite a terminal 3 coins for 3 coins. That's quite strong. But if it's not, then it's just weaker than a Duchess probably. So yeah, it's really hard to evaluate. Its strength really depends on fortune, I guess, in most cases. So I have a hard time to evaluate. I think that's why it has a pretty high deviation. I don't know either how strong it is on its own. This one is hard to rank on its own, given that we rank the cards separately and not taking into account the other split card. Rank 28, Doctor. Doctor loses 2 ranks and has a high deviation as well. It is 1 rank higher in the unweighted list. Yeah, of course, Doctor is amazing with the 5-2 opening, and if you draw it again even on turn 2, then it's just bonkers good, because you are really far ahead, like a couple turns ahead, just a few turns into the game. Then it's just so good. On a 4-3, it's also quite good. You can trash 1 card before you even shuffle and have a good chance trashing again turn 3. But on 3-4 or 2-5, 2-5 is obviously same as 5-2, just 1 turn slower. So yeah, that's not that great, and still quite good, but not that great. But on 3-4, man, this is just so weak already. If you trash turn 2, you trash maybe 1 card, but you Doctor misses shuffle, so you draw it maybe turn 4 or even turn 5. So this is really dependent on how you open, and of course it's weak trashing ruins. That's terrible. It doesn't work. Even trashing curses is quite bad. I think it's just best in normal trashing. I mean, trashing the starting cards. Also trashing shelters is quite weak as well. It really depends on the board and especially on your opening. If it's the only trasher and you have to go for the engine, of course you go for it. But it's really swingy, of course, as well. If you can even deck track and still don't trash as fast as your opponent. So it's really hard to rank. I don't think it's a great treasure. It's hard to rank because I mean trading post, for example, is also amazing on a 5-2 or 2-5, but in the second shuffle it is already way worse. And this card I think is also hard to rank for me. So is Doctor. If you have 5-2, it's a no-brainer. In all other cases, yeah, it's not that great, but still can be quite good if you're lucky. Rank 27, Catapult. Catapult is the third new Empires card within 4 cards. It has the highest deviation in this whole list, as it was voted first and last each once. It is 2 ranks higher in the unweighted ranking, and it has quite a big lead over Doctor of around 4 percentage points. So normally I try to um, talk about statistics and talk quite objectively why I think the card ranked where it ranked. Not often I talk about my personal opinion of the card, but here in Catapult I need to rant a little bit because everybody says it's terrible, it's terrible. Still, though, it's in the middle, ranked quite in the middle of this list, and I'm one of those who ranked it quite higher. So let's talk about why I think this card is quite good, and I don't understand why everybody says it's terrible. Let's ignore silvers and rocks because even ignoring those, this card is quite good. If you trash an estate, it gives you still a coin. All the other free cost treasures don't do that. Amulet, Steward, Hermit, Forager, at least in the first shuffle not, don't give a coin trashing estate. So this helps quite a lot hitting 5 and as a treasure. So if you open with a treasure, it has a higher chance hitting 5 than those. This is quite important. So it's quite like a bishop without a downside that your opponent can trash as well. That's quite not bad. I mean, of course, the other treasures are stronger. I rated them higher because they have other upsides like trashing 2 cards or gaining a silver or trashing from this card or something. But giving a coin is quite a big bonus, I think. And then later, or even depending, maybe even early, you can trash a treasure and it is a militia attack. That's quite strong. Militia is a strong card. Discard attacks are quite strong cards in general. So being able to trash and attack as a discard attack, I think that's quite important and many boards on its own. I mean, of course, it gives a coin and you trash a copper, so you lose a coin, so it's a militia without 2 coins, as somebody pointed out in the thread. But that's quite good. I think that's totally reasonable. A card that you want on many boards. You open militia a lot of times, not because of the money, instead you open it because of the attack. Because many on many boards, but draw is hard, or fitting things together, or where sifters are, they are negated with discard attacks and so on. Being able to attack a lot of times is quite strong, and it's even trashing at the same time. I mean, I don't know if this is a good comparison, but Dame Anna and Sir Michael are 2 strong knights because one is a discard attack and one is a trasher, and this card does both of it. So this is of course very strong to me, and that's even ignoring, of course, silver and rocks. In 2-player, of course, rocks don't come often into play unless you are able to rush catapults, but I don't know if that's good. I haven't done that. So I haven't played with rocks a lot. But if there's a silver gainer, for example, catapult is even more amazing. So, because being able to this is a follower's attack basically. Discard and cursing. That's just incredibly good. So I think a catapult is a must-buy on many boards. I would open it over Forager, for example, on many boards when they are both on the board. because of the attack, and it is better in the first couple of turns because of the trashing estate. So I will stop now ranting, but I think this is a quite reasonable take. I'm looking forward to your comments about that, why you think you disagree. I'm looking forward how this the opinion on this card will change, especially now as we are soon able to play with it on the new client soon. I think it's weird to me that these opinions are quite that varied. Some voted it first, some voted last. Of course, that's both crazy. But yeah, I think I had it about 10 ranks higher, and I think I stand by it. So yeah, leave some comments in the forums or under this video why you think Catapult is bad, and maybe you can change my mind. Rank 26, Wishing Well. After winning quite a lot of ranks last year, Wishing Well stays the same this year, but is still quite a bit better average-wise. It is 2 ranks lower in the unweighted ranking. Yeah, and on many boards, Wishing Well is quite a good draw, especially if you can trash. And I mean, especially if your opponent doesn't go for Wishing Wells. If you can get like 9-10 Wishing Wells and just wish for Wishing Wells, you draw quite often. There are not a lot of cards that can stack your deck for the second card. That's quite unfortunate. Apothecary works well, and now Secret Passage, for example, works well with Wishing Well. But deck tracking, especially playing, timing your Wishing Well when there are 2 cards left on your draw pile, and then if you're good at deck tracking, naming the last card on your deck is quite good. Also, it accelerates early quite often, so it's a better opener than silver quite often, because you're most likely to tell if a state or copper is the last card on your deck, for example. So it's quite good. Of course, when your opponent goes for Wishing Well as well, and there are a lot of different cards in your deck, at least you denied your opponents getting all 10 of them, but your deck is not that great then. And with Black Market, for example, yeah, of course that doesn't work well, because if you have a lot of different cards in your deck, Wishing Well just it's hard to name the cards that will draw it. Also, it's a good defense against Ghost Ship, for example, or not really defense, but it denies the attack a little bit. So there are some nice use cases for it, and is often better than silver because it has still the opportunity to be a lab, and lab is quite a good card, so Wishing Well is of course also really good. Rank 25, Expedition. Expedition is exactly in the middle in this list, but there are still 2 cards with less than 50% to come. It loses 2 ranks, but is 2 ranks higher in the unweighted ranking. It has a high deviation. Expedition is pretty board dependent. Drawing 2 extra cards is like 2 hirelings in play. This is of course a strong effect, but you have to pay of course every time for it. So on boards with weak draw, this can be quite strong. It also, where you have to combine cards together, it helps doing that quite a lot. It helps accelerating travelers, for example. There are a lot of good use cases for it. Of course, it's not great against discard attacks, because you have to discard the card to draw, but still, even on those boards you buy it sometimes, because it's like similar to a free dungeon play. So like a one-time dungeon for free. I mean, that's of course not great, but can be still quite useful many times to be sure to able to kick off in boards where you don't have trash that much, and want to combine Village with draw card, for example. Expedition can quite help in the middle game, even on boards with discard attacks. So I think it's deservedly in the middle of the list. There are a lot of boards where it's useful, a lot of boards where it's not useful. Seems about right. Rank 24, Plan. Plan is the winner in this list. It is 8 ranks and over 11 percentage points better. It has a high deviation as well. And now, sorry about the second rant. Yeah, because I'm even more sure about this one because I have played with Plan a lot more. And Plan, I don't get why Plan won 8 ranks and 11 percentage points. I would expect it to even lose points and ranks because to me Plan is just not that good of a card. Um, it has I can't remember as I think I remember one game that I've played where Plan was useful, and this was a scrying pool board. So opening Plan Potion and then go for scrying pool. Trashing cards when buying scrying pool is quite good. Someone mentioned on Discord that Plan Page is a good opening. You can trash turn 2 and get through your travelers faster whenever you buy a traveler. This is quite good, but other than this, I can't see many use cases for it. So Plan is of course good when you want many of a card. Those cards you want many of are costing 5, but you can't really rely getting 5 in a copper or in a state a lot of times. So putting cards on cards costing 5 doesn't seem good in a lot of cases. So this means you have to put it on cards costing 4 or less. And the only, of course, there's Caravan, Tournament, and Herald, for example, but the only cards other than that you really want to get many of that cost 4 or less are villages. This seems still the best use case for it, and that even seems bad because you won't get village on your opening buy. A Plan village openings doesn't seem good, even you can that you can trash a card. So you get it turn 3 or 4 maybe, trashing a card, and still you don't buy village every turn. So this is really slow at trashing. I mean, it can work out, and if it's the only trasher, of course you do it. But the same can be said about Trade Route. It's a weak treasure as well, and in the bottom of this list. And you get it if it's the only treasure, and you even open with it. But you're not happy with it. And with Plan, I think it's the same. How many trashes do you get out of it, and how fast can you trash with it? It's really slow, and it really limits also your buy. So you have to get more villages that you want maybe before you can get your draw. It doesn't seem good in a lot of cases, and putting a Plan on cards that you maybe only want 2 or 3 of also doesn't seem great. Someone mentioned that you can of course buy Plan, trash 1 or 2 times, then put Plan on another card. This doesn't seem also great to me. I don't get Plan. I think, as I said, I used it only once where it was really good. Please enlighten me why you think Plan is a good card or a middle rank card. Plan was just terrible to me on many boards because it's slow and limits you, and yeah, it doesn't seem good to me. I think only Trade Route is a weaker treasure in the cards costing 3. All other cards are just way more better in trashing than Plan. Guys, don't think Plan is amazing just because it trashes. It can still be bad. Look at Trade Route. So yeah, I'm looking forward to your comments here as well. I just don't get the ranking of this card or this event. Rank 23, Guide. Guide is the 3rd Adventures card in a row, but quite a loser. It lost 6 ranks and 7 percentage points. It is 3 ranks lower in the unweighted list. Guide is quite a useful and utility card on many boards. Of course, it's great against strong discard attacks like Torture and Ghost Ship, but it is also useful, for example, with Travelers, finding your Travelers faster, or in boards where you just don't expect to get bad hands, like on money centered board, not exactly big money boards, but money boards where you still have to focus on treasure cards. Guide is quite good in mitigating bad luck. Of course, it's great against discard attacks. Sometimes when you can trash and have like a scheme or something and just be sure that you kick off each turn, then of course guide isn't useful. But getting guide over at least one guide over silver is on most boards the right decision, because you can't always be sure that you get the cards in hand at the start of your turn every time that you want. Also, when it's going to Duchy Dance, for example, you have the possibility to kick off when you're greening. There are a lot of good use cases for guide. It's a really good card in general. Rank 22 Enchantress. Enchantress is the 4th Empire's card in this part, and also the best one in this whole list. The only one beating 50% just barely. It has a lead of nearly 4 percentage points over Guide, and it is one rank higher in the unweighted ranking. I think Enchantress is pretty board dependent. Not sure how strong Enchantress is as an opener. It was mentioned often that Enchantress with opening with a Trasher can be quite devastating if it prevents your opponent to trash. This is of course true, but if it collides with your Treasure, then it doesn't do a lot of good to you either, and your opponent can just always, especially if you are player 1 and open with Enchantress, your opponent can just get 2 Treasures, and if they collide it doesn't matter, because he can play one as a cantrip and play the second one. I think you have just to change your strategy a little bit if you see your opponent getting Enchantress, but the attack is not quite as strong. When it's strong though is with discard attacks. For example, if you have a Legionary that activates and play an Enchantress, this is just devastating. It kills your opponent's turn, because even if he keeps a village draw card with a Legionary, after Legionary, he might not draw what he wants with the third card, and he can't play his village as a village, so it kills his turn quite bad. Yeah, similar to Torturer or other discard attacks. Enchantress is really strong with those, I think. This is, I think, the boards where it really shines, and then it's really, you have to go for it, getting like 2 of those and play 1 every turn. Not sure how strong this is as an opener, though, but yeah, we'll see. Rank 21, Market Square. Market Square is slowly losing ranks year after year. This year, 1 more rank, but what's significant is that it won 5 percentage points still. It is 3 ranks higher in the unweighted ranking. Yeah, Market Square is another card like Tunnel costing 3 that gains gold. What makes Market Square just a way better card? Of course, it's the on-play effect, because it's a cantrip buy. Non-terminal buy already is very strong for engines, and it cantrip buy, you can pick as many as you want up, and you have all the buys that you want, have also in the end all the pile control. So this of course makes it really strong in strong engines. Also, it gives you of course the payload, because in strong engines you always have a card that trashes usually, and if you overdraw, trashing to gain a gold is quite strong. Of course, gold is not the strongest card anymore, not like 2 or 3 years ago, but just like Tunnel, if you manage to trash and use the gold for other things, maybe Bishop, maybe Apprentice Market Square is amazing, or Salvager or something to use the gold, or a Butcher Rate or something. There are a lot of use cases where you can use your gold other than using it for money, where Market Square trashing is quite good. You just have to be aware that you, especially in the early game, don't want to trash early on, just wait until you're thin and overdraw, then trashing and activating Market Square can be quite accelerate your engine, getting economy really fast and getting you the payload that you want. So yeah, Market Square is a really strong engine card. Chapel Market Square opening is quite good. Of course, there's the Hermit Market Square combo. So it has really nice synergies with a lot of cards, as there are a lot of treasures that activate it. So this was quite a long part. Sorry about the two rants, but I really don't get those two ranks. Looking forward to your comments, where you deviate from my opinion and where you think the upcoming cards will land. Thanks for watching. See you soon for the best 20 cards of this list. See you soon. Bye.